do what I was asked to do. All right, so real-time pricing availability comes to Cloud LSI, feeds into the web store as well as additional data sources. So when like trade service gives updates to their data, it automatically will feed into the PIM. Vendor data, you might set up a relationship with a certain vendor to have automatic updates, that will automatically feed the PIM. So it can have as many data sources as you want feeding into this tool on a nightly basis automatically. That's where it really gets interesting. Now, another thing this thing does, it really is, we're the first to introduce a concept like this, is this will also work at the buying group level. So if you belong to a buying group, and many of you do, if not all of you, this can then become a source for saving money on your data and sharing resources between all the members of the buying group. We already have an agreement in place with one of the largest electrical buying groups called IMARC, and we're talking to 5 others as we speak about implementing this tool at the buying group level. So what that does is the group itself can get content made for the whole group, and that group then feeds a master catalog that then is shared. In addition, you can bring additional information into that group data via the vendors or PIM itself, and then that is shared to all the distributors that hook up to the master catalog. So all the members of the buying group can hook up to this master catalog. So they're getting to be able to share the cost of the data. Now, Trade Service has been our partner for this, but it could be someone else if they don't service that sector, some other sector. And the nice thing is Trade Service has agreed to take the number of members that join and divide their normal cost for data by that number of members. So if 20 members join, if it used to cost $200,000, now it's 200,000 divided by 20. So that's something that's never been done before. And people like Granger, just so you get a reality check on this, we have a customer who used to be an executive at Granger, and he said that Granger started off spending $10 million just on content. They knew content was the key to success. So that was important to get the content thing figured out and make this all work. So this is where the master catalog comes in. Now then each individual ERP owned by all of each distributor can then join up and get that real-time data feed that we're talking about earlier. Of course, you can also bring in the data directly into your catalog. So this is your private catalog that gets fed by the master. Once the data is here, you can do whatever you want with it. You can change it, you can update it, and you can make whatever changes you need. You can also do something that is really interesting, in that say you already have a bunch of data that's good. You've spent some time getting together 4,000 or 5,000 SKUs of data, and you want to then share that data to the master catalog yourself. Well, if you share it and everyone else in here shares some data, each person shares some, whatever they have, 1,000, 2,000 SKUs, 10,000, all of a sudden you're going to get 10, 20, 50, 100,000 SKUs of additional data for free. So it's like a co-op of data. So this is something that can also work at the buying group if you have a buying group that joins up into this scenario. So I wanted you just to know this because many of you, like I said, belong to buying groups, and many of you found this very intriguing because there's no other way to get the cost of data as low as this, period, on the streets. And no one has a tool just like Cloud LSI for doing this, to allow this sharing to happen for the master and the sharing back as a data co-op. So it's very, very intriguing. And then I can explain in the previous slide, then that data flows into your web store or additional applications that can be hooked up to this via the API that we provide. We're providing a generic API right here that allows anyone to hook up to this data. So we're not trying to create a world that just only second phase. We're trying to make a data hub that can be shared by anybody. So at the end, we can talk about that further questions. So let's go ahead and show some sites, talk about Cloud LSI, give a demo of it, and get into more detail. So here's a demonstration site of plumbing data. Another thing we are just announcing as well, now that we're partnered with Trade Services, Trade Services offering content in a prepackaged format, say 80 to 100,000 SKUs for different sectors right out of the box. And you can get that for, depending on what we arrange of each buying group or group of people, around $500 a month. First time this has been offered at that kind of price point is pre-populated data ready to go. So this is a demonstration site of that data. So say I'm looking for a given item. Everything you're going to see here is being driven by Cloud LSI. So when I'm looking for a product and it shows me the keywords here that match, that's being driven by Cloud LSI. keyword matching, we call it. And those are keywords right out of Eclipse. So you're going to get the best results by picking one of these results here. So say I'm looking for a ball valve. I hit ball valve, hit results. You see the speed of that? That's Cloud LSI driven. Cloud LSI just put up the results of that search instantaneously via the Cloud LSI technology. Then you get your search refinements here in the left. The deeper the refinements, the better the performance on a B2B website. Study after study has shown that. When you're talking about B2B instead of B2C, B2B means someone's looking for a certain specification they have to match in order for them to be able to buy the product online. It's the key to having a huge jump in your revenue. If they can't find the specification on your website, they will not buy the product because they do not want to have to return it. And it cannot be sort of the right product. It has to be exactly the right product. So refinements here make that possible. So you can start off a refinement. They're looking for a certain brand, like in this case, a Legend valve. And then they can go and work their way down through pressure ratings or whatever applies to what they need in their spec. And let's say I'm looking for a certain pressure rating, 400 PSI pressure rating, and now I have the two valves that match. A minute ago we had hundreds of valves, now we have two with 2 clicks. That is what makes the site perform and get better revenue. So now I can pick which one of these 2 valves matches what I want, hit the button here, and then the next thing that comes into play is the level of specification data you have. And once again, Cloud LSI is managing all that. So you see here, this is the data, specification data for this ball valve. We have features and benefits, so marketing bullets, and then key specifications so someone can make sure this product matches their spec. And then we have resource pages, and there'll also be on the real one technical content for weight and sizes so you can drive shipping. So this is the data that Trade Service is offering. This is an example of that data for all the SKUs that they offer it for. So in this case, we have 80,000 SKUs of data here. Every SKU will have the same level of data. That's what's been missing. A lot of our customers have this exact issue. Some of their products have great data, and some of it hardly have any data. They're down to just one description line here. That is not going to sell a product in the B2B environment. It may sell to existing clients that happen to know that exact product, but anywhere beyond that, the sales are going to drop off quickly. So this level of data is what Trade Service is now offering, pre-populated into the Cloud LSI tool. So the Cloud LSI tool will automatically have that data in it if you buy that edition, and then it'll merge with your Eclipse data to bring the data that's in Eclipse in with the data here, and then you get an experience like this for all the SKUs that match and such. So I want to just show you a few other sites to give you some diversity. Every site that we do has unique look and feel. And all these sites I'm going to show you are all driven by Cloud LSI, so you can get a sense for how, what it brings to your site. Say we're looking for a faucet, we come up kitchen faucet, single handle kitchen faucet, and you see here now we have upcoming the narrow your search facets coming up here on the left. Once again, very deep. It's this level of facets of search refinements that lets the site perform to where it can perform in today's market. Because I know on my own personal case, if I go to a website that doesn't have this methodology for finding product, I leave. Because this is the way you get from 40 faucets to the faucet you're looking at in minutes. You don't have a half an hour to go search through 40 faucets and figure out which one's the right one for you. So I can go by flow rate, I can go by whatever applies, finish, nickel or bronze, whatever I'm looking for, and I can quickly find the faucet I'm looking for with these refinements. So this is absolutely critical, and this is what Cloud LSI does, is it drives the search refinements in very, very fast time as well, which is also important. If you have huge lag times for every single thing you do with the search, people will leave as well. So Cloud LSI technology is based on the latest search technology. It utilizes the Amazon AWS server technology for maximum speed and security. Has triple redundancy behind it, so if any one site, like yesterday in Denver, we had a blizzard, if that was impacting the ISP in Denver, it automatically would have dispersed the computations to some other location. Triple redundancy means triple places around the country that this is being managed. So very important for today's environment, and security is absolutely critical, as we all know. So that's another experience, plumbing related. We can go here to more of electrical one. You can see once again, narrow your search comes up for the refinements. If you're looking for a certain type, you can see it says show more, and you can get more types shown right here. Say we're looking for a current limiting fast action fuse, this one particular. Here you see Cloud LSI has put up the description. It has put up the product specifications. Once again, very deep specifications, so someone can really make sure this is the right fuse. Of course, very important if a fuse, of all things. You can't buy the wrong fuse. Related products came from Eclipse, one of our options. Down here we see ratings and reviews, another one of our options. Someone could rate this thing and it'll show up here. We also have an option called questions and answers, which allows you, right here, you'd have a question and answer area. Someone could post a question to you guys, you would answer it, and then it would automatically become part of this fuse for the life of this fuse. Very important for search engine optimization, also better results when you're using it and such. You can see also down here what other people have also viewed, another one of our options. People can see what other people are buying that are related. And lastly, we see down here what my shopping, this time what I've been using the shopping experience, here's what I've been looking at. So I can then quickly go back to products that I've been looking at, not have to go research for them again. So you last viewed and such. So you can go ahead and then pick that, add to shopping cart, and off we go. So it's this combination of features that makes the site perform better. And as just reality check, we have one client that just finally hit 26% of their revenue now comes from their web store. That is the holy grail. You start getting into the 20% type market. Now you're talking about something that really has a great return on investment and such. And it's all these little features I'm showing you one by one that add up to creating that experience that you can start to get that kind of revenue from the site. One last site to show you that's called LSI focused. You might also notice this is the latest look and feel of websites in 2016. It's more horizontal focused. There's hardly any vertical columns. The reason why is every site needs to adapt itself to the different devices that exist today. So if you bring up halcolighting.com on your phone, you'll get a whole nother experience than what you see here because it automatically adapts itself specifically to a mobile interface. You bring it up on a tablet, different look, and you bring it up here on a PC, different look. Very crisp, clean. This is what modern design looks like. No clutter, no flashing lights, no banners that are out of control, no person speaking to you that looks like a cartoon character. I mean, you just want to really keep it clean and make it look right. So it's important. So then the first thing they want to do when they're going to a site is search for the product they're looking for. So first thing that happens on our sites of Cloud LSI backing it up is all the search keywords that match what I'm typing. This level is what you find on a B2B site compared to a B2C site. So if I'm looking for a particular kind of lamp, I can go right to it right here. A heat lamp, HID lamp, Pro LED HID lamp, all that's right here with a couple types. So I'll just look generically for lamps. Here's the lamp results. Once again, you see a really deep search attribution driven by Cloud LSI. So I'm looking for a certain CRI, looking for a certain dimmable, yes or no, on and on we go. Initial lumens. These are things that don't really have much importance on consumer sites, but very important on a B2B site. So say I go here to dimmable, and I find dimmable lamps, and I go to an actual lamp, and you see once again very deep specifications. Now these sites I'm showing you, they did not start off looking this rich. This is what you call rich content. They started off, someone has their mic unmuted. It would be great to wait to the end. So some of them only have 4 or 5 specifications. And over time, they grew this to being 20, 30 specifications. So the Cloud LSI lets you do that with the PIM tool to keep adding additional data as you get it and make a better and better experience. You have your resource pages, catalog pages, technical data, all here. And so this is the experience that drives revenue. One description, some of our sites, if you're one of these people, I'm sorry, but I'm picking you out. This is all they show for a description, the Eclipse description. This will not help you sell product beyond to your hardcore customers. So the goal is to give you a tool that lets you get to this and make a better experience for your customers. So let's go in and actually look at the Cloud LSI itself. So here's Cloud LSI. This is the dashboard. The actual live one will actually have graphs showing you how much people are searching for and all the different facts of their use of the web store. Here we see it has 424,000 products in it, this particular Cloud LSI catalog, and 6,000 fields that it's managing. This is an actual live Cloud LSI site that feeds a lot of our customers as we speak. So you come over here and you have your dashboard. You set up your connectors for data. As we described, it can be unlimited number of connectors for data. You set up your catalog. Everyone will have one catalog that feeds their website, but because of our relationship of buying groups that I mentioned, there's also the master catalog. So if you are in a buying group and you are hooked up to this, you'll see this master catalog link show up here. If you're not, this will not be displayed. So then you would be able to then hook up to that master catalog and gather the data you wanted from the master catalog. You don't have to take it all. You can take whatever you think is appropriate for what you sell by vendor or category, and then you can feed your catalog with that data. Here's where you manage all your data sources. Unlimited number of sources can feed this. And here's your actual catalog here that will then feed your web store. And this is where everything you gather from the other sources will then become usable by the web store and changed by that. Now we go into the area where we manage the data itself, how it's going to be used in the web store. So you get the experience I just showed you on those other sites. So we bring up the fields, product data model. We have our standard fields. These are all the fields that are in Cloud LSI. These are the ones that are not attributes themselves. These are the main ones. So you have description, you have manufacturer part number, and all the different things that are here. It has the name that's in the data itself, and here's the name you use for the actual display on the web store. So you can change the name to be more friendly and more marketing friendly and such. Then you say if you want it to be displayable or not. You want it to show up on the web store or just be used for background, such as, in this case, they have the long description turned off, not be displayed on the web store, but it can be used for searching. Someone's doing a search, it'll look at long description, but some other description will be used for the web store. UPC code, all the different things you want to display, it's all true and false. Searchables turned on or off. Do you want it to look into these fields when it's doing a search in the web store? So when I was doing the search here, up here in the search area, here's you're defining where you're going to be looking for that data. So you have control over that as well. Next, you go to dynamic. Here's where you set up your dynamics, and here's where all the attributes get set up. So anything that ends with ATT is an attribute, and that's size, color, price, all that kind of stuff are attributes, and they can automatically have either displayable or searchable by just clicking this on or off, whether you want to have them be used. And that way you don't have to go through thousands of attributes and check this for each one of them. You can go in and edit a given attribute, though, and make it change from this default. We also just implemented a new feature called Smart Field. This was one of the most requested features by our current LSI users. And at Smart Field, you can set up any field to be smart. So in this example, we have smart commodity, and commodity in this case is meaning category name. So you can say that if a category name exists that's very low level, which means very detailed, use it. If not, go to the next level. If not, go to the next level. So you can say automatically look for the best possible data to put into this field. And that is the commodity is where you're having the actual, when you're looking like a site like this. Here, we go under products. These are the names, the category names for the drill down that you're controlling. So if you want to change these names or you want to change which ones are used depending on what the data shows, it automatically will do that for Smart Field. More typical application is like an image. So you could say Smart Field, if an image exists from trade service or some other data service, use that. If not, use the image in PDW. If not, use the image from Eclipse. So it'll automatically look for the best image and put the image that's by your ranking. And here's the ranking right here. This is first, second, and third ranking, fourth, fifth. You can make as many ranks as you want for changing that. So this all happens automatically as the data is being fed to the web store upon it. So of course the end user has no idea there was 3 different descriptions and it picked the best one depending on what existed. So this was something that from a lot of you customers it was really important that we implement, and we just finished implementing this, and you can do this for as many fields as you want, make them smart. So it automatically sets a priority and automatically grabs the most appropriate data to stick into the web store so you get the best possible results. Before we had to hard code this in, so you couldn't change any of this. Now you can go in here and adjust this yourself. You can just simply go in here and grab it, and you just simply move it up or down depending on where you want it to be. So very easy to use. We go back now, if we go into field groups, this is another area where you can control where data displays. So I pick tab 1, and I see in tab 1 all the attributes will display. In tab 1 in this site, for example, here's tab 1. These are the attributes. Color, size, brand, markets, all of them display here. If you want to move any of these things to some other tab, you simply just come into here and you simply move it to another tab. So you go to tab 2, example is spec sheets, installation instructions, and so when we go here to tab 2, we see catalog pages, line art, so kind of the images, the links to documents that are outside of the data. Here's where it automatically will end up here and such. And then technical data is tab 3, and so you come here, pick tab 3, and you'll see that here's the technical data, such as weights and sizes and inches and all that kind of thing, all shows up automatically in tab 3. So you can now control where your data ends up. And if you don't use tabs as your means of showing data, you could put areas on the screen like here and below here, like you saw in Codel, and move data to those particular areas. It's just a way of identifying on the screen where things go. And now it can be done in Cloud LSI instead of having to call second phase to say you want to move this data from one area to another area of the screen. You can then do it yourself using Cloud LSI and move data around. So each site would have different tabs or different names here depending on where things go on your site. And that would be unique to each situation. Another thing is search properties is a thing called Boost. We had a lot of requests for this is how can I make certain brands or certain manufacturer names or certain whatever boost to the top of my results. And here we implemented this feature called Boost. So here you can see manufacturer name. If a certain product category has 3M product, for example, then boost that to the top. And then you can add another one, say if a certain product category has Philips lighting, boost that to the top. And so now you can do that for all the different things you want to boost. And then of course you can do different fields as well, not just manufacturer name. This is a way that if you're in a certain category and you go back a step, you could force brands to the top of this results list automatically. So if you wanted a certain Square D fuse to go to the top, you just would boost Square D to the top here, and it'll automatically boost as the results in the results page. And this is an addition to what some of you have our featured products area, which goes right here. If you have featured products you want to put in the top, you can. That's one area. But this is a secondary way to boost, where you boost things automatically based on Cloud LSI. And you can do all kinds of iterations of this based on manufacturer name. Any of these things here can be boosted up to the top. Type, amps, anything you want to do to boost can be done here by simply picking the field to boost from the list here, and then picking, and if you want to give a specific name, you can then put a specific name here and then boost it to a 6 and such. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in managing where your data, how it gets displayed on the site. Once again, this also would have required a special call to second phase to have certain products boosted to the top. And the goal is now is to make this very easy to do yourself. And by the way, Cloud LSI works on your mobile phone as well. So if you needed to boost a product, it was a Friday evening and you forgot to do it, you bring it up on your phone, boost 3M to the top, and that way over the weekend you'll have that 3M boosting to the top automatically. Connector configurator is where you take your connectors that we talked about earlier, your different data sources, and then you can map them. So you take the fields that are in, like an example here, trade service fields, and here's trade service fields, and I'm mapping them to Cloud LSI. So that means every single time I bring trade service data in, automatically at midnight. It automatically maps the trade service data to the appropriate field name in Cloud LSI. Also one of the biggest requests from our customer base. How do I standardize my data? I'm getting data from 10 different sources. They all have different names for different things, and I want it all to be standardized and be usable by the web store so that the client has no idea that there's 10 different sources of data. This is how you do it. You set up your maps for each one, and these maps will automatically come with Cloud LSI. Of course, the map for Eclipse exists. The map for PDW exists. And then trade service, we have a map already for IDEA. We have other maps for other sources as well. And if we have to do a new map, we can do it, or we have to do something custom, we can work out a arrangement for how we do a custom one. But once it's done, it's done. And from now on, it'll work great, easily and fast. Now we come to our PIM. This is the newest feature. This is where, for the first time, our clients can edit their product content outside of Eclipse and PDW. And that has been a major request from our clients, is how do we get our data editable outside of Eclipse and PDW? Well, this is how, using the PIM tool. So there's two different scenarios. One is to add a brand new product from scratch in the PIM. So you can go in here and hit New, and you can say, okay, I want to add whatever it is, whatever category. So I can say I want to go add, say, example, a battery. I can go in here and pick an existing item, show more of them here. And normally I would have done a refinement to get this refined even lower down, so I can pick a given product. And then once I find a product I want to add, I simply grab it. And this is, say I'm adding an additional product that's like this, all I need to do now is change the things that are different for this product versus the one that already exists. So I can see this is a 3M product. I can go in here and I can change the refinements and such, so I can go ahead and add quickly what I want to change. When I'm done, of course, one thing that will change for sure is the UPC code right here. Edit that, maybe change the features and benefits right here, and then I can hit save, and now I have a new product. If only changing what was different about this product from the one that was already in the database. So it's a quick way to add new products without having to start from scratch and write every single piece of data. You know, there's over 70 pieces of data right here, and I don't necessarily want to recreate the wheel. So what you do is you take ones that already are there and adjust them. So very, very quick, easy thing to do. Now, something that probably even be more common is editing groups of data, groups of product. So you go here to the Edit button. You come into the categories that exist. These are the same categories that are in the website itself. So you can go in here, you can say, all right, I want to edit lighting products, lamps, fluorescent lamps. There's 3,355 fluorescent lamps. So I'm going to hit select. Instead of having to edit 3,000 different lamps, I can just pick this, and now I can edit all 3,000 with one click. So if I say I want to edit all these, I simply select all. Here's all the data fields that all 3,000 share. And then I can say, well, I also want to add another one. Let's just call it for now test. And I can add that as well. Now all 3,000 lamps will have a new field called test that I can use any way I want, either display it or use it for making it feature these products. Or I can then say I want to put everything that has the word test as a special or that kind of thing. So I hit next, and now I have all the data being displayed in like a spreadsheet-like format. And now I can go to each one. Here's the test one right here. And I can give a value, like say this is ASTM 242. And I can say replace. And that means all 3,000 lamps will now have a new value of ASTM 242. I can then go in and change any of this other data. I can either replace it or I can append to it. So if I wanted to add additional information to a given category, like here is the top category for this product. Lighting was the top level category. I can see lighting plus lamps. Hit append, and now that top level category will now say lighting plus lamps. And then hit save, and then I'm ready to go. So we really thought this through. We got a lot of input from customers, and this was the way the distributors wanted to edit data in the quickest way possible. And you can even do every single, like in our case we had 464,000 SKUs. I could pick everything and add new data to the whole, all the data in one couple clicks. or in this case, a certain category or a certain manufacturer, or whatever I wanted to do, I can quickly make those changes and make thousands of edits of a couple clicks that would be nearly impossible to do manually or using a spreadsheet, and you make a massive effort of it. But you can take the data and you can export it, hit the export button here, and you can export it to a spreadsheet. And if for some reason a given task is easier to do in a spreadsheet, you could export the data to a spreadsheet and then come and import the data back in, and in a couple of clicks you could do a massive change using spreadsheet functionality. So we realized that was another people said, you know, sometimes it just makes sense to do something in a spreadsheet. Well, we just go and hit export and then import, and it's done. You've done all the changes that you wanted at a spreadsheet as well. So that's another nice feature, is you can combine the best of both worlds, the PIM itself or a spreadsheet methodology and such. Another thing that was really important is data quality. All this doesn't matter if the quality of the data goes downwards. So we have a thing called data quality tool, and every time you do an import of data, it automatically runs a data quality report. And that report will flag. You'll be able to set up rules for what you want it to flag. As a default, it's going to be able to allow you to set up key fields that must have data in them. For example, you always want an image, you always want a description, you always want a weight, you always want, saying you can go on and on at the things that must have data. So when you do an import of data from any source, it'll automatically look to see if those fields are populated, and if not, it'll go on the data quality report. That data quality report will have the same time and date as the import. So if, say, you did an import of 5,000 new products last week, and ever since then you've been having data issues, well, then you can go back to the data quality report and see what happened, and you can see, oh, here's the issues. Some reason there were missing descriptions in that data, or there was some reason there was a bunch of duplicates, or key things that were wrong, or a bad character that's in there, which is something we've heard happens a lot of PDW. So we added this feature based on client input. Remove all dashes at the beginning. Remove all NA characters. Remove all null characters. And you can add your own character removal. Remove all ampersands. And hit that, hit add, and now it'll remove all ampersands. So quick things to clean up data so you get rid of a lot of the issues we used to get support requests on. That's what's gone into this. And if you find things that are wrong in the report there'll be an edit link to fix it right then and there. So say a description's missing, and you want us to do a quick fix and get a description in place there, you can go hit the edit button, add the description, hit save, and now that product now has a description. Versus in the old days, it was going through thousands of products looking for a missing field in a spreadsheet or some other environment, and it was a real mess. So that was really important. Another thing that we have for data quality is called workflow. First, you can set up all the people at your company that can use this Cloud LSI and what they can do with it. Of course, you have an admin person, you might have a marketing person, an e-commerce person, admin person. Each person will have different rules that they're allowed to do. We call access levels. Of course, the admin person could have access to everything, but you wouldn't want the marketing person going in and changing a weight or a key attribute for size or something that's really critical that they shouldn't be changing. You could cut them off from that. They could change the description, they could change the image, but they can't, or the features and benefits bullets, but they can't change specs or weights or other critical things that really doesn't have any play of marketing. E-commerce admin person may have that ability to change weights and such and that kind of thing. Then you can go into customize workflow, and here you say who has to approve something when it's been added. So if someone adds a new product into here using the PIM, this person and this person have to approve it, marketing and the admin person. If there's no names in here, nobody has to approve it. If there's 10 names in here, 10 people have to approve it. So you have complete control over who has to approve and not, and we can do customizations to this to add and remove these things as needed to more abide by what you would want. But and then at the very end, we added a secondary level of quality assurance called publish. And this is someone has to make sure that everything has been done here in the Cloud LSI, gets one more review before we hit the publish button. Publish means it's now displayable on the web store. And until it hits publish, it won't be displayed in the web store. So as you're doing these edits and doing these fixes and doing these changes and bringing in additional data, you go ahead and you then have that final say through. Now, if you don't want that, you simply remove these names, and nobody has to do a publish thing. Obviously, if you're a one-man band, you're not going to care about a lot of this stuff. But if you have a whole army of people working on the products, you want to have some control over what happens. We hear this all the time. Oh, this suddenly a major change happened. And another thing that's behind the scenes is every single thing that's done to the data, whether an edit's done or an import's done, there's going to be an audit log that exists behind the scenes. And that's going to track all the changes. And so if something went wrong with a given data, you can go to the audit log and see who did the change and when it occurred, and there'll always be a revert button there. So you can hit revert and go back to the old version for that given item so you can quickly fix it. Maybe solve it later, but for right now I'm going to revert back to the old description and not use the new one because it's all messed up. And so if a couple of clicks you can kind of rebound and get past the issue. So that will exist for all changes done in Cloud LSI. There'll always be an audit log for everything that's been happening, and it'll be for as long as you want it to go back in time, year or two. So if you wanted to go back to data that you had in the past before things got messed up, you just a couple buttons, hit revert, and you're right back to where it was. So that is what I wanted to show you guys today, was a general sense for what Cloud LSI does. But the bottom line is it really makes, and we have plenty of clients to prove it, really makes your site more usable and have higher potential for revenue and a much better look and feel. And it now matches what people are doing out there in the mainstream. All the top e-commerce sites out there utilize this technology, all of them. And there's no exception to what I'm saying. Any top e-commerce site uses Cloud LSI-like functionality, and they're spending millions for that functionality, and that's not any exaggeration. We have some clients that have bought some really high-end tools that cost them a couple $100,000 and $30,000, $40,000 a year in maintenance fees, and we're charging 1/8 of that because we know you guys can't afford that. We used to actually push a few of those products, and since we only got 2 or 3 customers that bid onto it, we realized it was way out of the range of most of our customer base. So we've made a product that is about 80–90% of what those other tools do for 1/8 the price. It's focused only on distributors. It's not trying to make a solution for everybody, retailers, manufacturers. This is only for distributors. And it now has the feature of working with buying groups. And if you have a buying group you belong to, you might want to get in conversation with them about how they could adapt this, because suddenly you can see some major changes. And we're committed to, as buying group members join, say you bought Cloud LSI this month, but then next month your buying group gets involved. You're like, wait a minute, I'm going to miss out on the savings. We're always willing to give from that point that the buying group joined and got the membership savings. From that point forward, you would get the same savings in your monthly fees. So we want to make sure that no one feels like they kind of missed the boat or didn't get a fair deal. So people can unmute as they wish, or they can type in the chat button on the GoToMeeting and ask questions. Maybe some here already. Nope, I don't see any. And any questions at all? Go right ahead.
So I have a question.
Great. Who is this?
This is Malcolm with SNS.
Hey, Malcolm.
Solution. Hey, and so we have a lot of customizations that you guys have done for us over the years, and I guess what we would need is maybe someone to help us to evaluate how we can get those customizations implemented and be able to utilize the Cloud LSI, keeping in mind that those customizations may not may interfere with how smooth of a transition that might be. So how do we do, like, I guess next steps, or how, talk to somebody, because Scott and David really know what they've done for us over the years, and so they'd probably be critical in that conversation about how you guys could help us out.
Yeah, and that's what we'll need to do, is get together a conference call with Scott and probably a couple others. We have a new project coordinator, by the way, everybody should know, whose sole job is to manage support requests and requests like this, and to kind of get all these requests prioritized and properly organized. So that guy will be involved in a lot of the conversations that many of you had with our support team. And the whole point is to start bringing, as we grow, we've been growing dramatically, as many of you know, we needed to get more and more layers of management to help our team be more efficient. And so that's what we're committed to doing, is getting everybody more efficient. And Chad will be that guy. That's his name.
Okay.
So post this, just email me and we can get that arranged.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Hi, Mark. This is Steve Ruoff at L. Fishman.
Hey, Steve.
Is this new PIM tool something I have to buy, or am I going to get this?
I would need to look at your contract, because it depends when you signed up. If you signed up in recent times, it comes with it. And if it's the past, it's a small upcharge, not much.
Okay.
But I can't rattle that off to you. I don't know by heart your situation, but I can certainly look it up, post this, and get back to you.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, this is Molly from Frost Supply. My question is, how are you guys managing the data when it's pulled in? Is it being matched by UPC or catalog number?
It's being matched by
UPC.
The default is UPC. Obviously, it just needs to be one field that's consistent between all the data sources. It doesn't have to be UPC, but that's the most likely one.
Okay. Is that something that we choose in there in one of those fields, or is that managed by you guys?
It's managed by us because we have to have some sense of keeping it all under wraps. But if we were to offer that as a editable thing, you could make some major, massive problems in the site. So,
right.
So we'd want to have control over that.
Okay. And so with that, is it the hierarchy that decides where it's going to look first? And is that how you guys manage not having duplicates from Eclipse to IDW to trade service, etc.?
Yes, that's how it is, that UPC that gives that unique identifier to make sure there's no duplicates, right?
All right, and then the last question I had is, how are you guys managing the drill downs? Is that part of this? What products show up on the drill down column?
Well, the data that I showed in the demo here showed drill downs as part of this because those drill downs were literally part of the data, but not everyone has that scenario. So we already have an admin tool for drill downs that comes, that you are using today, and that doesn't go away. But over time, we're going to move the drill down management into Cloud LSI. So if it doesn't exist in data, you'll be able to edit it and add it to the data or manage it in the data. But today it stays the same. You manage the drill downs over in the admin screens of the web store, and you manage everything else here in Cloud LSI.
So when you guys do move to the drill downs, how are you going to determine what products show up there? Is that by UNSPSC code, or is that by a category that you guys are going to develop?
It would be the same way it does now, which gives you a variety of choices. You have by UPC, you have by keyword, you have by part number. Right now there's like 4 or 5 choices. None of that will go away.
Yes. Okay.
And that's the part we have to move. That's the part we have to move over. That's why it's critical. We can't just say start doing your categories today over in Cloud LSI, because you'd lose some of that functionality. You wouldn't have the 5 choices. You'd only have 1 UPC, and we want to give you those choices.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else?